Please adhere to YouTube's selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during the video. All actions are performed by professionals.
Alright, so today I'm going to be drinking Reposado Tequila for the first time, which is something I have been wanting to do for the last little while now, ever since I first tried tequila and had a great experience with it. But what is Reposado Tequila? Well, Reposado Tequila is a subcategory of aged tequila, like Blanco or Anejo. Blanco tequila is unaged or lightly aged for 3 months. Reposado tequila is aged from 3 months to 1 year, and Anejo tequila is aged from 1 year to 3 years. There's also extra Anejo, which is aged for longer than 3 years, and a couple other subcategories of tequila as well, but those are the 3 we really want to pay attention to today. From what I've heard, as tequila ages, it tends to smooth out a little bit more so than not. And while it's sitting in the barrels aging, it tends to develop some new flavors, and old flavors tend to change, giving Reposado and Anejo tequila a, well, different flavor than Blanco tequila. And since I enjoyed Blanco tequila so much, I am very curious to find out just how Reposado tequila will actually be. Will it be good? Will it be bad? Will I enjoy it? And will it be to my personal preference as somebody who has previously enjoyed Blanco tequila? Well, I don't know, but I'm looking forward to finding out. What I've got with me today is a bottle of the Tres Agaves Reposado Tequila, which cost me $42.95 for 750 milliliters at my local liquor store. And for that price, I got a tequila that was aged for 9 months in whiskey and bourbon barrels, and I also got a tequila with an ABV of 40% along with a proof of 80. I have heard some quite good things about this tequila online, and so as such, I am expecting it to be pretty solid, but will I actually enjoy it? I'm looking forward to finding out, I'll readily acknowledge. I do suppose without further ado, I should probably go ahead and start covering quickly just the look of the bottle itself. Then after that, I should probably go ahead and get the plastic all off of the cork, go ahead and get the cork all out, take a smell of Reposado tequila for the first time, and then after that, I'm thinking I should probably go ahead and pour some of this in a glass, take a sip, and, well, actually drink Reposado tequila for the first time. After I'm done drinking, I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts on Reposado tequila and let you guys know whether it is something I actually like or not. But first off, as said, we've got to quickly cover the look of the bottle, which we can see is I'd have to say, pretty tall and elegant design overall. We can see starts off very thin at the top and then gets a little bit thicker, but it thins out as it gets towards the bottom once again, although it never reaches quite the same thinness as we have at the top. The cork itself is very much that of a, I'd have to say, dark stained wood, and we could see there are 3 agave plants right there, all in gold, meant to represent the fact that this is the Tres Agaves brand, also known as 3 agaves in English. And then we can see that there is a little bit of an orange label right here, almost looking like a cigar band or something like that kind of thing, in my personal opinion. Just says Mexico, Jalisco right there, with 3 agave plants in the middle. Just says Reposado right there. And on top, it doesn't have anything. It just has a bunch of dots and whatnot kind of thing. And then it just says organic right there, and then organic on the other side as well. This is basically just meant to make the top of the bottle look a little bit more fancy than not, I do suppose. Just kind of trying to imagine this bottle without this label on it. I feel like it would look a little bit empty, so this is a nice addition, I will acknowledge. Moving on below this, we can see there is a white label on the front along with on the back as well, and these white labels are meant to look a little bit more rustic than not, in my personal opinion. The one on the front is a little bit roughly cut at the very top, and it also has a rougher texture to it than not as well. There is embossment for a lot of the text right here where I'm running my fingers over right now. Just got my words a little bit jumbled up. And we can see there are 3 agave plants all in orange right there. It seems like the general color scheme for this bottle is white, orange, and a little bit of sort of like dark brown / black as well. So we're seeing a lot of orange details, I will acknowledge. But these 3 agave plants right here, they're all in orange, a very nice orange in my personal opinion. These are all embossed. Under those, we can see it just says Tres Agaves right there in a mildly stylized way. As we can see this curves. That is all in black, but there is a silver inlay inside the text. And then under that, it just says organic right there. There's a little bit more silver right there. And to either side, we can see it just says 750 milliliters right there, 40% alcohol by volume right there. And then under that, it just says Tequila Reposado right there as well. And that's in sort of a gray, I'd have to say. Just says Tres Agaves Productos, certified organic, established 2008, MX, 100% Puro de Agave, traditional pot still, simple origin agave from Tequila Valley, Hecho en Amatitan, Jalisco, Mexico. So yes, of course, as all tequila is, this tequila is also made in Jalisco. And that's pretty much all there is to the label on the front, besides this orange area down here, which you can see orange. They're really going with the orange with this bottle, I will readily acknowledge. Overall, pretty nice, mildly rustic, yet at the same time mildly modern look for the front of the bottle. It's not a look I mind by any means, but it's not something that is, I would have to say, particularly out there. It's a very safe design. It's nothing that's particularly extraordinary, but it's a solid design that does its job, and does its job well in my personal opinion. One thing I almost forgot to mention is that on the bottle itself, we actually get 3 agaves right here in representation of the name, Tres Agaves, of course. Moving on to the back of the bottle, we can see it's pretty much just all informational. Just says Tres Agaves right there once again. Has a map of where it's produced and whatnot. And then it has a market segmentation spiel. Just says Tres Agaves Tequila is crafted from single origin certified organic agaves fermented and distilled in Amatitan, Jalisco, Mexico, the historic birthplace of tequila. Agaves are harvested at peak maturity, fermented using proprietary yeast, and double distilled in small batches using traditional pot stills. Tres Agaves Reposado is aged in former American whiskey barrels for a golden hue with vanilla, toasted oak, and baked tropical fruit notes. So there's their little bit of a market segmentation spiel, just basically trying to say, hey, look, we're doing things the right way. We're making organic tequila, and our tequila is really good, kind of thing. They're basically just trying to say all that sort of stuff with the market segmentation spiel on the back, and, you know, it works to a decent degree. Serving size 1.5 fluid ounces, 44 millimeters. Servings per container 17. 40% alcohol per volume per serving. It's 95 calories with no carbohydrates, no fat, and no protein, which is surprising because when I think of agave, I think of a lot of sugar, so I'm surprised there's no carbohydrates, or maybe that's just added carbohydrates. I'm not exactly sure. But we can see, it just says imported by, certified organic by, warning, barcode, USDA certified, and then we could just see 0 sugar, gluten-free, 95 calories, bottle batch or batch number, yeah, that's pretty much all there is to the bottle. And that's pretty much the look of the bottle overall. Overall, in my personal opinion, a very safe design, a very solid design, and one that looks pretty good, and one that just gets the job done, but it's nothing extreme by any means, I will acknowledge. Without further ado, let's go and see if I can get the plastic all off of this bottle. This is where I tend to struggle, I'll acknowledge, so I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to get my knife out and just do this, honestly, because this is going to make it a lot easier for me. I just don't have to worry about trying to get my finger under the plastic wrap and whatnot. So just go and get that all off, just like that. Yeah, I'm glad I used my knife. Makes everything so much easier. I will acknowledge. No complaints on my behalf, let me tell y'all what. Well, let's go ahead and fold my knife back up real quick. And let's go ahead and get the cork all off of this bottle and actually smell Reposado Tequila for the first time. Ooh, that was pretty nice. That was pretty satisfying. Ooh, okay. So I will acknowledge, only ever tried one other tequila before, and that was the Tres Agaves Blanco Tequila. Now this is the Tres Agaves Reposado Tequila, so I imagine same exact blend, just aged for 9 months. But it certainly smells very different. It smells very different. Not entirely so. There's still agave in there, of course, but it smells much more different than the Blanco Tequila, which isn't a surprise because, well, this is aged in barrels, wooden barrels, and everything like that kind of thing. So I'm not terribly surprised, but very interesting. Very interesting. All right. So the smell I'm getting is very much that of a almost sort of sweet agave nectar with, I'd have to say, a little bit of honey. What's it saying we're gonna get notes of? It's saying vanilla, toasted oak, and baked tropical fruit notes. I'd have to say there's definitely some sort of citrusy, sort of fruitiness in there. And I would have to say there's definitely like caramel and vanilla in there as well. Yeah, I'd have to say overall the smell I'm getting from this tequila is very much that of a... Yeah, I'd have to say the most prominent smell is that of a sweet sort of agave, almost sort of honey-like nectar smell with undertones of caramel vanilla. And then under that, there is, I'd have to say, a little bit of citrusiness, sort of an almost like, I wouldn't say tropical fruits, but I'd say a little bit of like a melon-like scent, in my personal opinion. And maybe a little bit of brown sugar as well in there. And that's very much what I'm noticing smell-wise from this tequila right here. Let's go and pour some in my glass, and let's smell it just a little bit more and then take a sip. There we go. Just trying to get some of that to drop in. Oh, that was not very satisfying. That just... There we go. Just gotta hit it hard and whatnot. Let's go and grab myself a little bit of a screenshot for film this video real quick, I do think. Well, hopefully one of those frames will do as a screenshot for the thumbnail of this video. We will find out. But we can see the color of the tequila is very much that of a, I'd have to say, sort of faded yellow or very light faded green. Certainly looks a little bit more aged than, well, Blanco tequila, that's for sure. And in the bottle, it's definitely more of an intense sort of faded yellow. Almost sort of piss-ish color, I'd have to say. But it's definitely a little bit more faded when you actually pour it in a glass. Smell-wise, it's definitely a little bit different than it was in the bottle. It's, I'd have to say, less caramel intense and more vanilla. Smell-wise in the glass, I am getting that of, I'd have to say, predominantly vanilla with an undertone of brown sugar and caramel, with then undertones of agave nectar and melon, with a little bit of citrusiness coming from the melon. Yeah, overall, smells quite nice if I do say so myself. Definitely a little bit different than it was in the bottle itself, but quite nice if I do say so myself nonetheless. Well, I do suppose, without further ado, I should probably go ahead and actually take a sip of Reposado Tequila for the first time and find out just how it is, what it's like, and what I think of it. So, figuring there's no better time than now, so without further ado, y'all, let's go and take a sip and find out just how this stuff is for the first time. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying? Still a decent amount of burning in the back of my throat, but I would have to say a little bit smoother than the Blanco tequila I tried. Not by much, but definitely a little bit smoother in my personal opinion. And taste-wise, definitely different. It's less intensely agave-like, and it is... It's less intensely agave-like and more... woodsy and like vanilla caramel-esque. There's less agave, although it's still in there. The mouthfeel is still very much that of a heavier than not sort of like agave syrup. Although for some reason it does feel lighter than the Blanco tequila I tried previously. But Yeah, very interesting. I'd also have to say, taste-wise, this is coming across, at least initially, as being a little bit less bold, a little bit less brash than the Tres Agaves Blanco tequila. I swallowed that one very roughly by accident. But not bad. A little bit of spice in the back of my throat. But overall, I'd have to say Reposado tequila, definitely slightly more smooth than Blanco tequila. Not by an insane amount by any means, but definitely a little bit smoother nonetheless. And I'd have to say, taste-wise, you can definitely tell Reposado tequila, having been aged in barrels, really does make a major difference. The focus of the flavor is no longer on just the agave-ness of the tequila, and instead it's now focused on, I gotta say, the flavor of the barrels, honestly. The tequila really has soaked up the flavor of the barrels, and while there is still a sort of agave sort of flavor in there, the main prominent flavor, besides just sort of a sweet agave, is very much that of like vanilla caramel brown sugar, which is very interesting if I do say so myself. And I feel like that's the sort of woodsy flavor that they said I would be getting on the back of the bottle. Very interesting. Very interesting. Or maybe that's not the woodsy flavor, but I definitely am getting a sort of woodsy flavor in there as well, I will acknowledge. Yeah. Very interesting if I do say so myself. In some ways, it's surprisingly less complex than the Blanco tequila I tried. Maybe it's because, I tried the Blanco tequila and I was so surprised. The flavor was so bold. The flavor was so out there and different from anything else I'd ever tried that it kind of took me by surprise. This, on the other hand, it's kind of toned down. I wouldn't say that the tequila itself is insanely more smooth. Maybe just a little bit more smooth, but not much. It's smoother, but not by much. But flavor-wise, it's more mild. The flavor itself is less out there and extreme, and it's more just laid back, I'd have to say, which is honestly not what I was expecting. The flavor really not only has the tequila smoothed out a little bit, but the flavor has smoothed out as well. Interesting. Huh. Very interesting. Now, the mouthfeel of this tequila, I'd have to say, it's also slightly less heavy. I don't know why. It's coming across as slightly less syrupy, and in that, coming across as slightly less heavy than Blanco tequila as well. So the mouthfeel is definitely a little bit different in my personal opinion. Might just be me, though. It might just be me. I'm not sure. But I really do feel like the aging process for this tequila has definitely made the mouthfeel of it a little bit less syrupy, which then makes the mouthfeel just come across as being less heavy. Although maybe that's just me. Excuse me, I just had a little bit of a burp. Interesting. And overall, I'm still able to get the agave flavor. But it's certainly not a pure, unadulterated agave flavor anymore. Pure, unadulterated agave flavor, that's Blanco tequila. That's unaged or lightly aged. This, on the other hand, there's certainly other stuff going on, and that would be the whiskey barrel. Yeah. Very interesting. I'm definitely still getting that agave nectar flavor. I'm definitely still getting sweetness from the agave, and a little bit of a sort of flavor in the background that is fruity or melon-like or something like that. I've really got to think about it a little bit. I haven't quite determined what the flavor is really like quite yet, in precise terms. But there's other stuff going on as well. Very interesting. Very interesting. Interestingly enough, I would actually compare this flavor-wise. No, I don't know. So I've tried mezcal once before. I tried the Monte Lobos Espadin mezcal, which I really enjoyed. When I'm just thinking about which this tequila is more similar to, is it more similar to the mezcal I tried or to the Blanco tequila I tried? I'm actually leaning more towards the mezcal, which is really interesting. Like, this doesn't have a sort of earthy or sort of like more savory flavor to it. It is more sweet than not, without a doubt. But the flavor profile itself is so different from the Blanco tequila. It's no longer like an extremely sweet agave flavor with undertones of like melon. It's now, well, more mild, more laid back, and it's a little bit more earthy due to that woody taste being in there. There's definitely sort of a, I'd have to say, a slightly smoked wood taste in there. And that sort of wood flavor or smoked flavor is definitely very prevalent in mezcal as well. So I'd actually have to say this Reposado, I don't know, it's coming across more like mezcal than Blanco tequila, which is really odd to me. I wouldn't expect that, but that's kind of how it's coming across. It's very different. I'm still really enjoying it, but it's different. It's different. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. I'm getting a little bit of a buzz going, I ain't gonna lie. I am getting a little bit of a buzz going. Absolutely. This stuff, it's 40%. It's getting me a buzz just drinking it straight. Straight up, it's getting me a buzz. I'm just kind of chilling out and enjoying the scenery, honestly. Just kind of looking at the bottle going, oh, wow, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good in my personal opinion. Can't complain, can't complain. But, yeah, trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about besides the flavor. I've covered the smoothness. I've covered how the flavor seems to have kind of toned down a little bit, oddly enough. Color-wise, it's different, of course, just a little bit due to the barrel. And just flavor-wise as a whole, overall different. I haven't covered the flavor intricacies yet, but is there anything else I want to cover? Yeah, I think I've covered most everything I want to say except about the flavor. So I think I am going to I'm going to have some more, try to really determine what the flavor is like, and then let y'all know what the flavor is actually like of the Tres Agaves Reposado Tequila, of the first Reposado Tequila I've ever tried. Overall, though, I'm not minding Reposado Tequila one bit. Now, if it was $20 more than Blanco Tequila, I would have felt ripped off, honestly, because this is not $20. this is not worth an extra $20. Don't buy Reposado Tequila if it's an extra $20. That's kind of my personal take right now. But this tequila, I think it was only like $2.50 more than the Blanco Tres Agaves Tequila. $2.50, absolutely worth it to try something new. I wouldn't say that I prefer this over the Tres Agaves Blanco. I wouldn't say that by any means. It's just different. It's just different. And I think that's really the best way of putting it. I wouldn't say, I know there's a lot of people out there, and it's a real thing with many alcohols, that they get better as they age. Aged bourbon, aged whiskey, aged scotch, aged rum. Most rum I've tried that is aged for, the longer it's aged for, the better it tends to be. I'll acknowledge that. Just tends to be how it is with rum, especially. And I'm sure with many other alcohols and liquors as well. Of course, wine is especially known for that. The older it is, the better it is sometimes, kind of thing. Although that is not always true by any means. I would have to say, at least based off this one experience, tequila is not something that per se improves with time. It just becomes different. I wouldn't define this, which has been aged for 9 months, to be better than a Blanco tequila that is pretty much unaged. I wouldn't define it as being better, just different, I'd have to say. Of course, definitely still a decent amount of hotness in the back of my throat. I would have to say, yeah, this stuff definitely a little bit smoother than the Blanco tequila I tried, but not really by much when it comes to smoothness as in swallowing and whatnot. Taste-wise, definitely smoother though. More mild flavor, without a doubt. It's kind of a little bit more muddled as well, rather than having like, okay, here's one thing, here's another thing, here's another thing. It's a little bit more muddled overall, but there's still points that you concentrate on. Interesting. I'm just gonna kind of talk out loud about the flavor real quick, and I'm gonna figure out whether I think that's still accurate or not after drinking a little bit more. Flavor-wise, I think I am getting that of a predominantly vanilla, caramel, brown sugar, woodsy flavor with a little bit of smokiness in the background. Then under that, I'm getting a sweet, almost honey-like, agave nectar-like flavor. And then under that, I am getting just a little bit of, I'd have to say, it's not really melon. It's more pineapple, I want to say. It's like pineapple kind of in the background. A little bit of sweet pineapple in the background. And I'd have to say that's kind of what the flavor I'm getting is. It's definitely different than Blanco tequila. Now, I'm not going to say 100% for sure that's what the flavor I got actually was like, because I still have more to drink, and that's just kind of me talking out loud to kind of get all of that organized in my head. Talking out loud for me, I'll acknowledge, it kind of helps me organize things in my head, so when I'm trying to figure something out, I tend to talk out loud, either to other people in front of me or to myself, I will acknowledge. I try not to do that too much in public, though, because... But I'm on video, so it's okay. In fact, talking out loud to myself helps on video. But, yeah, overall, pretty solid. I'm trying to think of the pineapple description of that sort of fruity undertone. What the Blanco tequila is very much that of a... melon-like flavor, almost like cantaloupe or honeydew. With this, though, it's more pineapple-y than anything, in my opinion. I would have to say there might still be a little bit of cantaloupe in there, but it's less melon-like and more just like cantaloupe syrup or something like that kind of thing. Or not cantaloupe syrup, but like just flavor of cantaloupe with no melon-like stuff. And then, I don't know, it's got some pineapple in there as well, I'd have to say. Very interesting. Although the more I'm drinking, the more I'm kind of like, it is still kind of cantaloupe-y and honeydewy. But it's definitely just more mild, more, it's kind of laid back. Very interesting. Very interesting. I would have to say in mixed drinks, Reposado Tequila is probably a little bit more mild. Like if you're making a ranch water, for example, you want the flavor of the tequila to come through front and center, because all you're mixing it in with is basically carbonated mineral water, kind of thing. And you're just mixing it in with that so you can drink it without getting like alcohol harshness and everything like that. It's honestly one of my favorite ways to drink tequila. And mezcal. Although I do think it's probably a little bit better with tequila. I've drank a couple mezcal ranch waters, and while they're good, the flavor of the mezcal kind of gets hidden by the taste of the water a little bit more, so you have to add more mezcal. But the Blanco tequila I tried previously, which was the Tres Agaves Blanco, amazing in a ranch water, very nice, it's a very distinct flavor, without a doubt. I think this, honestly, the Tequila Reposado, if I wanted to get that same intensity of flavor, I would actually have to add more tequila. Frankly put, I really do think I would have to. Yeah. because this is just a little bit more mild. And I would guess that if you were to make a cocktail or make a mixed drink with this tequila, that if you wanted the tequila to kind of shine through while smoothing out a little bit, you'd actually have to add more tequila than you would add if it was a Blanco. But at the same time, I feel like this is also really good. But it's good in that way. But it's also fantastic for mixing drinks, because if you don't want to get the flavor of the tequila shining through to a significant degree, you just want it to complement the other flavors, this is going to be perfect for that, because Blanco tequila, I can definitely see how it might overwhelm everything else in the mixed drink. This, on the other hand, I think would complement everything else much better. Yeah, I think this would complement a lot of stuff very well. Yeah, very interesting. As was the case with the Blanco tequila, it definitely gets smoother the more you drink. Man, tequila is dangerous stuff, genuinely. It's like I'm drinking it straight, and it's like at first it's a little bit rough, and then the more I drink, the smoother it gets, and it's just starts becoming like flavored water. It's dangerous stuff. Tequila is very dangerous. I like it though. I gotta admit, I like the Blanco tequila I tried. I like the mezcal I tried a lot. I'm also really enjoying this stuff. I gotta try unaged tequila and find out how that stuff is as well. I'm gonna keep the theme going. I've tried Tres Agaves, Blanco, Reposado. I'm gonna try their Anejo as well, because they have an Anejo. I don't think they do an extra Anejo. But I'm gonna see if I can find their Anejo. They sell it around here. I can find it without a doubt. And I think I'm gonna be trying that in the future. Yeah. I've got one more sip, I do think. After that sip, I'm just gonna sit down. Not that I'm not already sitting, but I'm just gonna kind of sit down, think about the flavor for a minute, and then I'm gonna let y'all know what the flavor of this tequila is really like. And then after that, I'm gonna go and give you guys my final thoughts on Reposado tequila after having tried it for the first time. Very interesting. All right. So in my personal opinion, the Tres Agaves Reposado Tequila tastes like vanilla, caramel, brown sugar, molasses with undertones of a little bit of smoky wood. Might be oak wood in specific, that's what it says on the back of the bottle, but I really can't tell the difference between woods unless it's cedar. I can definitely taste cedar wood. Oak wood, not so sure. But very much that of a taste in the forefront. In the forefront of the taste for this tequila is very much that of a, well, vanilla, caramel, brown sugar, molasses, slightly smoked, woodsy-like flavor. And that's very much what the upfront taste is. Then under that, we're getting, I'd have to say, a sort of agave nectar, almost sort of honey-like flavor that is much sweeter than not overall, but at the same time is very mild and has an edge to it that is kind of savory. And then under that, we are getting a sort of pineapple-y, yet cantaloupe-y and honeydewy-like flavor. It's not like quite melon-ish. It's more tropical fruitous than anything. But I'd have to say the flavor that I'm getting from the tropical fruits flavor that they listed on the back of the bottle is very much that of a pineapple, cantaloupe, honeydew-like flavor, just without any sort of melonness going on in it. But the combination of those flavors is what's going on, and it's a little bit citrusy and sweet, and it's overall pretty solid. And that's very much what the flavor of the Tres Agaves Reposado Tequila is actually like. Overall, how has this experience been where I tried Reposado Tequila for the first time? Overall, it's been a pretty solid experience, in my personal opinion, that I have quite enjoyed having. I think I can say with confidence that I like Reposado Tequila. However, I don't like it more than Blanco Tequila. Blanco Tequila definitely has its place. Reposado Tequila definitely has its place. I would have to say I like them both equally. But nonetheless, Reposado Tequila is still fantastic. I still really like it. and it's absolutely something that I want to drink more of in the future. And I would absolutely buy a bottle of the Tres Agaves I would absolutely buy a bottle of the Tres Agaves Blanco tequila again, and I would absolutely buy a bottle of the Tres Agaves Reposado Tequila again in the future as well. I really like the Tres Agaves Blanco I tried previously, and I gotta admit, I'm not surprised I like this one as well. They put on a good, they put out a good product. They put on a good show with the first one. Put on a good show with the second one, and I'm definitely looking forward to trying the Tres Agaves Anejo in the future as well, and seeing how that one is. I will acknowledge. Overall, I'd have to say I do like Reposado Tequila. If all of them are like the one I tried for the first time today, I think I'm going to like them a little bit more so than not, but not more than Blanco Tequila if I had to guess. Blanco Tequila definitely has some niceties to it that I really do appreciate. It's more out there tasting than Reposado Tequila. If you are, I would definitely have to say, if you're moving from, like, let's say rum or whiskey or bourbon or something like that kind of thing, something that is generally aged in barrels, and you find the taste of tequila to be too out there for you, try a Reposado or Anejo tequila, I figure. This, to me at least, is much more familiar tasting than Blanco Tequila. Blanco Tequila, while I've grown to really like the flavor of it, I drank an entire bottle of Blanco Tequila a bit too quickly, I'll acknowledge. I finished it, I think, in a week and a half. It was really good stuff. It's definitely a bit more out there, especially to me as somebody who has predominantly drank mostly rum when it comes to liquor. Liquor, I hardly know her. Got it. But it's definitely a bit more out there. The agave flavor is a bit more intense. It's a bit more extreme kind of thing, and I can see how it might throw some people off. I personally was a bit thrown off when I first tried it, but I grew to really enjoy it as I continued drinking. This, on the other hand, this is aged in, like, literally ex-whiskey barrels, ex-bourbon barrels and stuff from what I've heard. And it's definitely much more familiar tasting than something like, let's say, the Blanco version of it. So yeah, I'd have to say if you're looking to try tequila and you're moving from rum or whiskey or bourbon or scotch or something like that, try Reposado or an Anejo tequila. I think it'll definitely be a little bit more familiar to you. But overall, I would have to say I don't like Reposado Tequila more than Blanco Tequila. I think they both have their places, but I do really like them both. And I most certainly really enjoyed the Reposado Tequila I drank today. And I'm most certainly going to be having to try more Reposado Tequila in the future whenever the opportunity occurs. Overall, what is the rating I want to give the Tres Agaves Reposado Tequila? This tequila right here. I think I'm going to have to give it, probably a high 3 out of 4. I'm thinking a high 3 out of 4 for this tequila. Like a 3.8 out of 4 for this tequila. Something I would absolutely buy again. Without a doubt, absolutely buy again. But not something I can see myself buying all the time, and not something I can see myself just drinking all the time. Not because it's a bad product, but just because I'll acknowledge, if I was to drink like a ranch water or a tequila and squirt, personally, I think I'd much rather use Blanco tequila. This stuff, I need to find some recipes that call for Reposado tequila, some mixed drink recipes, and I think it's more for drinking on its own, and other less simple mixed drinks and whatnot. But yeah, still something I really enjoyed. I think a 3.8 out of 4 is very deserving for the Tres Agaves Reposado Tequila, and I've had a great experience today. I think that's just about all I wanted to say. Overall, great experience. No complaints on my behalf. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching. Let me know in the comments down below if there's any brands of tequila you guys would like me to try. And if there's any Reposado or Blanco tequilas or Anejo tequilas you guys think I should give a go to in the future and make a video all about. Let me know what they might be in the comments down below, and if I feel like it, I may try some if I can find them. The selection in my local area is not the greatest, so don't keep your hopes too high. I will actually try things, though, I will acknowledge. But if they're available and I want to try them, I may try them. But thank you so much for watching this video today, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. If you guys have enjoyed watching this video where I drank Reposado Tequila for the first time, of course, please make sure to all like and subscribe for more content. I have my Instagram, my book, my merch, my P.O. Box, and my other channels all in the description down below. Go check them all out. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. Till the next one, stay safe in peace and have a great one. Yes, sir, and I'm saying.